Okay, now this hangout on air is live. My name
Yay.
is Barry, and my pronouns are he, him, and I get to play a game of Dead Friend tonight with a very special guest. Would you like to say hello?
Yay. Hi, I'm Lauren. I use she, they. Sorry, I choked on my own spit.
This is not a good sign for a game about how someone died, but we don't
Yeah.
have to worry about that tonight because tonight you are the living friend, and I am the dead friend.
Hopefully that
Uh,
will continue.
I you know, it would be if it does not, then I know how to get you back. So
Ooh.
I'll just need to bring my salt for reals that time. So we are playing the tower conflict, and do you want to introduce your character?
Oh yeah, so I'll be playing Dorian, who uses he, him. My motivation is to say a last goodbye to my dear imaginary friend.
And I am the dead imaginary friend this time, Lancelot Littlebury, he, him pronouns, and I wish to return from the dead and wreak havoc.
Yay.
So let's begin the ritual of earth and water. We've got our magic circle in the center of the table. We have no salt, but we're on the internet, so we have all the salt that we possibly could need. And the circle coin is at the word east. The star coin is heads up on the altar. So Dorian, you're preparing to perform a dangerous ritual of necromancy.
Mm.
Describe the scene of your preparations. Is it day or night? Are you outside or inside? And what can you see, hear, or smell? I should probably state that we're playing in like vaguely Victorian England, correct? Did I get that right?
Yes, yeah, we
Awesome.
are.
Awesome.
Ooh. This is super interesting. Um, I think it's definitely nighttime. All good dark rituals are performed at nighttime. And I think Dorian is standing in the kind of playroom, nursery room um, that he played in as a kid. And there is, of course, like a trunk overflowing with various toys. There are high windows with like a bay seat that look out into the garden. It's very dark outside there at the moment, though. It's very hard to make out anything beyond like the reflection of the window as light flickers off it. Uh, there is a child's bed with a stuffed animal tucked underneath the cover. And there is, of course, the rocking horse um, creaking idly in the corner. I think there's probably also, along with the creaking, the ominous rumble of thunder in the distance. Maybe the odd, like, tuk tuk of gentle rain on the window. Um, it smells dusty in here, and I can smell the um, that rich, like wooden flooring, sort of permeating up from the ground beneath me.
What are you wearing on your feet?
Ooh, I think I'm wearing nothing on my feet. Um, I can feel the like scratchy rug beneath my toes, like in between my toes. Much like, oh, and I think I grip it a little bit with my toes, and it's very reminiscent of like the feel of grass underfoot when I was like running around with Lancelot Littlebury.
Awesome. Um, I don't know if I want to ask any more questions. That's my other favorite rule about this game is that you just get to like ask questions about stuff.
So it's
Um, is the house that you're in warm or heated in any way, or is it cold there?
um I think you can feel the heat coming from further inside the house, but the window there is just like sucking all of it out. You can feel it on your skin a little bit, like a little bit warm, but then that's being sucked out through the the window.
Awesome. Shall I proceed with the next step?
Yeah, by all means.
I died recently and I'm new to the realm of the dead. Briefly describe that realm. What can you see, hear, or smell? How is it similar to or different from the world you left behind? One of the things that I can hear is a very distant and indistinct speech. Um, High pitched like the chattering of children. But it's far away and impossible to discern what they're saying. One of the things that I hear, besides the voices, is the sound of a hinge uh, occasionally opening and then creaking closed again with kind of a thud when it's closed. And the and a soft, like a creaking open, a soft thud, and then a louder one after it creaks closed again. What I can see is just the occasional at the horizon. I'm able to see what almost looks like I should say I'm surrounded by darkness, but every now and again there's a horizon that opens up as if like a sunrise, uh, and uh, and light streams in through a distant crack. Um, but the sun never fully rises. It's less like it's less like the sun moving across the sky and more like seeing it through something through an opening and closing shutter. What I can smell is the must and uh, the must and sweat of that's been absorbed by by children's playthings and the the dirt that's found itself the dirt that's found itself like worked between seams of fabrics.
How does the transient, elusive rays of light make you feel?
Hopeful every time, but then snatched away immediately.
What do you miss about the world you once inhabited?
That's the thing. It's so close. It's just out of reach, and one of the things that's absent here is the sound of a footstep. The only such thing that even comes close is when there's the thud or the thump, but those only ever come in ones. There's nothing rhythmic about it, or even like arrhythmic or syncopated, like you might hear someone running. It's all dull thuds, one at a time.
That's so eerie. I love it. Is there other details you would like to add?
I'm not sure. We'll get to describe more about the realm of the dead in later steps, as you'll recall. So if something comes up, I will let you know.
Excellent. Ooh.
You've got a hard one.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I just realized how hard this one is since I'm imaginary.
I know, I was like, I've got a really good one. It's really creepy though.
Let's hear it.
I was thinking like maybe an eye.
I love it. Let's do it. Like a sonon, or
yeah, like a button eye.
I love it. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think like this button eye is a bit mismatched, but that's what really made Lancelot Littlebury unique. It's this old button. It probably was like a very glorious, vibrant teal, but with age, the center is a bit worn and paled to like a very soft eggshell color. But you can still see like the vibrant color it used to have like in the crack of like the button, like the outer rib of the button kind of thing.
May I offer a suggestion?
Oh yes, go for it.
Because it's a button. I was curious about whether there was still thread on it, but then I realized what would be worse, which would be if the little X of the button had broken out.
Oh yes, yeah, I love that little detail. Definitely. I love it.
What color was it sewn with when it was on?
Ooh, I think it was like a very saturated, sunny orange.
Awesome. Sorry, I have to write everything down because otherwise I will forget it.
I should do the same.
Anything else that you'd like to tell us about the star coin?
I think I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. So our coins are ritual objects, and over the course of the ritual, the circle coin will travel around the circle, visiting each of the 4 cardinal directions, and the star coin will travel each of the 5 points of the pentagrams. Together, they mark the passage of time and the character's journey through the elements. So for the rest of the game, anytime we move the circle coin, both of us will hum softly. This is my other favorite rule of the game. And anytime the star coin moves to a different location, I get to offer a word from beyond. So, shall we move on to the Ritual of Earth?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Okay.
The living and the dead remember their shared community from before the death. So I'll let you take over with step A here.
Excellent. So first, from the invoking pentagram of Earth, I'll place my index finger on the spirit point of the pentagram. Oh god. There, is it that one? Oh, it is.
Oh, yep. Sorry.
No, I
Now,
apologize. I'm ruining the atmosphere.
you're not. You're only spoiling your chances of successfully concluding the ritual. Lesser necromancers have screwed it up more easily.
Oh my gosh.
I believe in you.
Thank you. So moving it towards Earth, trace the entire pentagram with your finger. I need to read rules. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So like I'm tracing my finger. Second, move the star coin to the Earth point of the pentagram. Oh no.
It's a pain in the ass to grab it correctly. Like, you will grab the background several times tonight. A word from beyond.
Yes.
Cyclops.
Ooh, nice. Slide the circle coin.
You just start humming whenever you're ready, and I will join you.
Excellent. Slide the circle coin around the circle counterclockwise. Don't know. Okay.
Do you still have the roll for your party handy?
I do.
Okay. Why don't you draw your first 2 random cards? And I don't know if we need to enable hidden draws for this or not. Do you have a preference?
I've done it with hidden draws before. I guess
Oh.
it doesn't seem to matter at the moment.
I'll let you draw your 2, and then I'll draw mine 2, and
I'll enable hidden draw. Oops.
Whatever you do, I'll follow suit.
That's a good pun. Okay. Cool.
Okay. So I need 2 from Earth. Didn't like that. Give me my cards, you. There we go. I'm taking a look at the Earth legend, see what I have. Do you have anyone in mind for either of your cards yet?
I think I have both. They're torpy as hell, but
hell yeah. If you got it, the obvious thing is the right thing, right?
Okay.
Go for it.
I could do it. So take turns. Name and briefly describe the people in your shared communities and the Earth legends prompt. Write the character's name and trace in one of those designated spaces around the paragraph. Cool. So I will reveal the 9 of Pentacles.
And what does the 9 correspond to?
The 9 corresponds to someone beautiful and aloof. Who, has to be um, that that kid in um, Dorian's class who Dorian has a crush on. um, he is a I'm gonna use the shorthand of like young Mr. Darcy, like um, rather. I think like sort of hit a growth spurt earlier than other like kids in class, and was quite tall, but had the lithe, slender shoulders that sort of cut into like a neat waist, sort of very curly brown hair, often sort of brooding in the back of class, very quiet, sort of like sloped, pointed nose, or like yeah, I guess like kind of brooding Prince Charming esque.
Um, what makes him aloof by comparison to Dorian's other classmates?
Good question. Um,
Because I mean, we have manners here, right?
um, I think it's most noticeable when there are social gatherings, let's say at church, or um, there is a dinner that the members of higher society are invited to, and he is oftentimes by himself, not playing with other children. Um, Sticks close to his parents outside church and excuses himself as early as possible. And I think the only time Dorian has seen him light up is when he's like playing the pianoforte, like uh, when on the odd occasion he does turn up to one of those social gatherings.
Awesome. And I'm sorry, what did you say the name was?
Oh shoot, I didn't give him a name. Oh no. Um, let's go for Pride and Prejudice. Good Society names, don't fail me now. Um, oh no. Give her Nathaniel.
Do you want to put Nathaniel into NPC 1 with a little blurb? The pianoforte is my favorite specific detail.
Yay.
Hmm. Well, how tropey's tropey, right? Tropey's okay
Yeah, let's do
too.
it.
Okay, so I'm going to reveal. If I can figure out what button to push, there we go. I'm going to reveal the 4 of Pentacles to name someone powerful and greedy.
Ooh.
And I'm just going to make this bad to start because his name is Father.
Ooh, nice.
Powerful and greedy. I need to summon a sense of where power is derived in polite society in Victorian England.
It's usually money
Yeah, like that's a
or
pretty easy one.
property.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
could also be like someone with a lot of who knows a lot of gossip about other people. You know, who's like got their thumb on the pulse of society.
Oh, sure. I do like that. So, I had an idea, but it doesn't actually work.
I realized I broke the rules. I gave a suggestion.
I'm sorry.
I said I
Oh,
broke the rules. I gave a suggestion.
I offered one earlier, so I think we're tied up there. So I think that uh, Dorian's understanding of father is not as one of powerful or greedy, but one of like being provided for. Um, I think that father can offer a lot of material comforts. The size of the home, the uh, the grounds on which Dorian can play, um, the school that Dorian can attend, the education that he'll learn there if he applies himself. Um, so I think that his power manifests uh, as being able to provide these material comforts, but his greed manifests in a way that he does not find the same he doesn't find the same comfort uh in what he can provide to Dorian, and he withholds it from uh he withholds those same comforts from grandmother and grandfather. um their choices are not father's problem, and you, Dorian, you'll educate yourself correctly so that when it's time for you to provide for your family, you'll be able to you'll be able to go forth and do so, and not um, I, father would never ask you to do what grandmother and grandfather ask father to do.
I want to ask more questions, but I
Yeah.
feel like I feel like I'm preempting what's gonna come next, so I'm gonna hold off.
Uh, if you wanna throw something out there, like, please do, because I don't know if I've got a lot here to go from yet. Um, but I mean, we also get like a number of scenes in which we can incorporate these NPCs. So,
Does father have any particular ritual? Like,
ooh, um, I think father definitely inspects the grounds on horseback first thing in the morning.
mm,
It's less a matter of uh, ensuring that everything is in its right place than it is to ensure that everyone is doing what they ought to be doing.
and what gives him a sense of pride?
Ooh. Um, Lauren, that's a hard question.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Um, one of the things that gives Father a sense of pride is his ability to like what he wants to do is be able to have the best and finest people working for him at his beck and call. And so what gives him pride is when he's recruited the services of someone that someone else is then unable to. He's already other families will have to settle for second best.
I love it. Yeah, I'm good.
Cool.
I'm a bastard.
Father is the worst. No wonder no wonder Dorian has an imaginary friend.
um,
Do you want to do your other one?
I would love to. Let's plug it. Okay. Hmm. I'm gonna put down the Knight of Pentacles. And this is someone principled and determined. And I think this is um um oh god damn it. Wonderland names. Okay. Yeah. Okay. This is Whisper Lily. I thought that's a good
I,
kid name.
I love her already.
Yes, principled and determined. Um, she very rarely has a corporeal form. In fact, she's more of like a feeling when she spends time with Dorian. Uh, and when she's loudest and clearest is when Dorian is like on horseback or sticking his head out the carriage window or riding. Did they have bicycles at that time? I don't remember. I guess so.
They definitely do now.
But any time that like he's going at pace, and the wind is like in his dark hair, and like he can feel like the very sure cold breeze against his face that is like stronger and truer, like strong and true and um loud in his ears. Uh, that's when he feels like Whisper Lily, like within him, giving him like that excitement and strength, and like it's almost like he could fly, you know, like it's that it's tapping into that kind of whimsy. And she's also there when he goes to sleep, like sort of dandelion soft, um, The aid like dandelion soft, uh, like kind of lullabies in his brain kind of thing, like soothing. um, yeah, I think that's Whisper Lily.
So Whisper Lily is there and present most when Dorian is. You said when he's swift. It sounds like.
Yeah, yeah.
Um. Uh. When is she? When is she afraid, and when does she hide?
Ooh, that is such a good question. Um, she hides in the strongest thunderstorms because no, like she can't yell over the sound of peals of thunder and rain lashing down on the windows, and she disappears and turns invisible against like the sort of the anger of the elements.
That's awesome.
That's a good question.
Is there anything else you want to offer for Whisper Lily?
I think she does talk, like, she does have a voice beyond just, like, sort of feelings and that kind of thing. Um, and it's quite sweet and whimsical despite her, like, purposed presence. Um, and I think, like, the other time she appears is, uh, kind of her own, like, roiling rumble of, um thunder coming from within whenever like father talks down to Dorian kind of thing.
Awesome. I am trying to land on a name that I'm going to like for the card that I have. Well, I'll reveal the card that I have. Why not? I am going to reveal the King of Pentacles for someone wise and nurturing. Oh my god, I love that so much. Okay, well, maybe this will work. So the character who I'm going to name, if I can use the right keyboard here, I'm going to name Sketch.
Ooh.
Um, Sketch is, what did I say? The king. Wise and nurturing. And the way that Sketch's wisdom and nurture show up in Dorian's life is unfortunately at odds with what father might want most.
Nice.
Because Sketch encourages Dorian to not to see the world through words like he might through his education, but to learn something of the world's like true nature by drawing. And so I think that sketch shows up all over the place in Dorian's schoolwork. Um, he is uh, he's the like the best combination angel devil on the shoulder because what he helps Dorian see and what Dorian then brings to life on paper um, are are beautiful things about the world, but they're not mathematics, and um, they're not even poetry. It is a vulgar low art, and I think that Dorian has to be mindful of has to be especially mindful when sketch is nearby, because even though he can learn so much about himself and the world um, by bringing another version of it to life. Um, I think that there's father has a significant social pressure for Dorian to hide sketch both or to hide what sketch encourages him to do. He's very good at it though.
What is Sketch's favorite thing to draw?
Oh, I'm gonna write something first into the box so that I remember it. Um, Sketch's favorite thing for Dorian to draw is other people, because it only takes a single detail to really be able to capture that is that or that it is that person, and from that single detail, that's obvious who it is, and from there, like everything else that is essential about that subject can flow out onto the paper.
Nice. Ooh. I feel like one day father had to have caught them with some kind of drawing, and he scrunched it up in his hand and threw it into the fireplace. What was that drawing?
Um, oh, to say that it was of father is not entirely accurate, because he was a very small feature in it. Instead, the drawing uh, was of people from the church, the people from the county, who all of whom were quite literally just looking down on father from it. You could see him on his on his tiny horse way down way down at the bottom of a valley as familiar faces peer up over the hill
I
down
love it.
onto him.
That's amazing. I think that's my questions.
Um, do you want to take like a quick 5 before we move into the ritual water?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, cool. I will see you shortly.
See you shortly.
I'm not trying to rush Lauren back. I'm just sneaking back in. Oh, I
Oh
didn't get
no.
to sneak. I was gonna sneak and say this is my fifth game of Dead Friend, and I'm already just like I am blown away by how much I love this game every time I play it. So,
Oh, so good.
but I was gonna be sneaky, and then you didn't let me. So,
I actually just came back. Sometimes I sit here and I have the thing off, but I actually just sat back down as you did that.
fair.
Instinct.
I totally lied too. We are not ready to move on to the ritual of water. I was trying to fuck up your ritual.
Oh no.
I know, because I need to
Oh yeah.
describe what these memories are beginning to stir up in the environment in the realm of the dead and what changes are developing around me. I used the break to think about that a little bit. That was good. Because the changes developing around me are now that distant children's laughter is replaced with a rhythmic sound, but it's the heavy footfalls of someone looking for someone. Um, the other sound that I hear as the horizon briefly opens is a rush of wind into the place that I am. Um, this stirs up the dust and this stirs up the dust and the dirt that I thought was only a smell into um, like small clouds around me, and I can almost um, like just as when I would be out in the fields with Dorian and we would look up into the sky and see images in those clouds. I can almost see um, pictures in these dust clouds in the just as that sliver of light passes over them. Um, Faces maybe. Um, what I smell now is the the musty smell clears momentarily, and there's a brief rush of the scent of cedar, and just as the footfalls begin to start slowing, uh, the horizon begins opening up, and the creak of a hinge uh, becomes extended, and I see the crack at that horizon opening just ever so slightly more and not slamming shut immediately.
Beautiful. I don't think I have any questions. That was about that was poetry.
First time I've been accused of that recently, so thank you.
And I get to describe how my body feels. Hmm. So I think um, I feel the cool caress of air on my cheek coming from cracks in the window, like the window frame. And it's a feeling that sends a shiver down my spine, a very lingering one. It spreads over my arms and my legs down to my toes. And the feeling is electric. It's life.
Um, I have a question, but I'm not sure how to ask it.
Oh.
What does it feel like in your arms and legs?
Ooh. I can feel each individual vein, the sort of cascading river-like pathways that go down into the tips of my fingers, the tips of my toes. Um, and sorry, my rivets are really high right now. They're banging around. um, yeah, I feel every vein extended to my fingertips and the tips of my toes. And it fills me with that same rush as galloping at full speed on horseback, even though I'm standing still. It feels like I'm there.
Oh, that's awesome. I don't have any additional questions. Shall we now correctly move on to the ritual of water? Awesome.
Let's do it.
Like a eulogy, the living and the dead remember the details of their friendship. So I'm going to get rid of our cards because we don't need these
Oh, thank
anymore.
you.
So you get to start with your invoking pentagram.
Yeah. The star going to the water point of the pentagram. Oh,
A word from beyond. I didn't prepare myself for this word from beyond.
oh, good.
Steed.
Nice. I will move the circle coin first.
So we are going to use the cups. Oh, it's just called water. That's easy. Once you've drawn your card, then I'll draw a card, and then we can figure out who wants to do a scene first.
Excellent. It's not 1d6. Excellent. Oh, I got the creepy
Oh no.
one.
I mean, it is a game called Dead Friend. They are basically all the creepy one. Remind me later to tell you about the best one that I drew ever.
Ah, sweet.
Oh, that's fucking interesting.
Oh, I can't wait.
I need a minute to come up with something for this.
Yeah, take your time.
If you have something, then please don't let me hold you up.
I can reveal The Ace of Cups, which is the earliest memory of my friend.
Oh, amazing. That's going to be so helpful. Oh, Lauren, you and Roll for Your Party are my superstars already.
um, and um, I think the earliest memory I have of my friend is rather hazy because it was when I was very young. Um, but I remember being seated on a rocking horse. I don't even know if I could walk that good yet. Like, I guess I could. It's hard to tell when, like, you're reaching back into, like, your early childhood memories. But I was seated at the front. I remember the feeling of, um, my hands gripping so tight onto the handles coming out of, like, the rocking horse, and it didn't squeak as much then. It can be a little bit, but I remember it being a very, yeah, I don't remember it squeaking. I do remember, like, the feel of wind on my face as, like, we're going back and forth and, like, how, every time I'd rock forward, I'd feel, like, air on my face, and I'd, like, rock back, and then, like, um, it messed my hair up because I was trying to go really fast, like father when he rides his horse. And I remember feeling Lancelot behind me, as we were galloping along on this rocking horse. And I remember our laughter, like, mingling together, and that electric feeling in my veins of, like, life and excitement. And I remember thinking at that point, like, this was gonna be a friend I would have for life.
So to the adult observer, Lancelot was just like stuck onto the back of this thing. But in your memory, um, how do you picture the two? How do you picture the two riding on this horse together?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
Oh, I'm going to ask the most obvious question. Is there a physical manifestation then of Lancelot in like the Hobbes style?
Ooh,
Is Lancelot in fact a toy?
I think I like. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, totally, totally.
Yeah, I love that. And I think, like, Lancelot, Lancelot takes the form of, um, ooh, he's quite a humble toy. I think he's sort of made of, like, burlap sack, and his limbs are weighted with, like, like, rice or some kind of, like, heavy kind of, like, heavy substance. So, like, he sits he sits put when, like, you sit him down. Um, of course, like, over the years, there's been, like, minor surgeries as, stuffings, like, come out a bit, but and I think uh, he. Ooh, I think he does have like a little a felt suit of armor.
Amazing.
uh, ooh. Oh yeah, it's probably like a good nice crochet set of like armor. Like I feel like it's probably a handmade toy. um.
I have lots of questions.
Oh yeah.
I'm very excited for this, but please go on.
uh. Yeah, and I think originally he had like these very bold, bright, like black bead eyes that sort of caught the light with such like a confidence.
Oh, that's very interesting. I thought I had teal eyes.
That was
Maybe that eye came from something else. Oh, that's also good. Um, so I'm going to ask a leading question because this is although this scene is primarily about you and your friend, it must also include at least one community member from the paper, and it sounded like there was at least a little bit of Whisper Lily in there.
totes.
But my question is, why would Father allow you to have this raggedy old toy?
Oh, that's a really good question. Um, I think this was a gift from grandmother on his side. Um, but she, of course, she was a little bit scandalous before she was of a lower social standing than the rest of the family. So she, much like Whisper Lily, was very principled and determined and loved working with her hands, very salt of the earth kind of grandmother. Um, and she had always had handmade toys. And god damn it, they were good enough for her grandson too. much to father's chagrin.
Excellent. Um, oh, I know that I can like also embellish this, but I don't. I like asking questions because it's rude to. It's not rude to do a thing, but I like putting people on the spot. So, um, hmm. Uh, so what was it that what was it that that Lancelot said to Dorian climbing onto the horse um, that made Dorian know that he was supposed that he was the rider and that Lancelot was just riding along, or was it was it different? Was when Lancelot climbed on behind you, was Lancelot like a lot bigger than you and was actually the one riding the horse with Dorian like
Ooh.
seated in front as a small like what's the size and like authority differential as we're on this horse?
Oh, I feel like it's coming from a place of like support and care. I think Dorian was actually quite afraid of horses um, when he was a kid and hated that rocking horse.
Terrible gift from father.
Yeah, it was the absolute worst. He hated it. Um, and Oh, yeah, and I think, like ooh, yeah, I like that idea. I like the idea of, Lancelot riding in front and leading the way a bit to show, like, Dorian that, like, "No, it's fine, like, this is, like, horses aren't scary. In fact, they're a lot of fun." And, like, maybe show you how to ride this horse properly, and you'll be fine.
That's awesome. Do you want to offer anything else
Ah, I
for
think I'm
your
good.
earliest memory? That's really good. I
Oh,
really
you're
like
amazing.
it.
This is so many good questions.
Well, thank you. It's nice to ask someone that is like ready to answer them. My other partners for this game are amazing. Also, I'm not no shade. I'm just gonna talk myself right into a hole. So there will be no sixth game of Dead Friend for me, apparently.
You are the dead friend. No, I'm
Oh
kidding.
no.
Um, I'm
Uh,
glad. Usually I'm like, I panic for like 3 seconds, then I'm just like, "Ah, whatever is coming out my brain is coming out my mouth." So,
I think you're doing awesome.
likewise.
Okay. Well, I'm going to reveal the six, which is a time my friend helped me with a problem, which is a fucking interesting question
Oh
in
my
this
god.
context. Um, so I think it's not long after our first meeting, and my crocheted armor has gotten snagged on something. My beautiful chainmail has been punctured, um, and the the suit is like falling off of one shoulder, and I've left it's left a weak point on my shoulder and on my chest, just above where my heart would be. Um, oh, I need to include an NPC in this somehow. How am I going to do this? Um, I think when Father sees you carrying around this raggedy doll that was given to you by his mother, uh, it's only an excuse for him to say uh, uh, as we're playing in the parlor, we can hear him talking loudly about us to whomever it is that he's talking about, and that um, if the boy wasn't so obsessed with that dingy thing, if it hadn't come from my mother, he wouldn't even have it in this house. Um, and I think what you do to help me is you ask you hide me when Father's in the room. You find places that you find places where Lancelot can go on an adventure without you and be able to come back and tell you like you know uh, what's up in the chimney, because it's this enormous tower that is here in the home that you grew up in, or um, or what is what's hiding underneath the stairs. Uh, Lancelot Littlebury can go places that Dorian can't, and he must go there sometimes in order to not be caught by Father. Um, not be found by father and disposed of. Um, and and you keep finding places to send me on adventures and to and more to the point to hide me until Christmas, uh, when father the one time of year that father can't say no to having family over. Um, and so finally, after these months of gallivanting around the house, um, you're finally able to bring me to your grandmother and show her what's happened to my armor, and um, you tell her how brave I've been, even with this, and that you've been brave too, and that you're not afraid of horses anymore. And so when you bring me to her, she's more than happy. After we've eaten a Christmas dinner, she's more than happy to help crochet, like not just repair the armor that I have now, but she actually crochets a whole new suit um, in um, in the new yarn that she's been given as a gift for that Christmas.
I love it so much. I have so many questions.
Oh, let's hear them.
What color is the new yarn?
The new yarn is I'm not going to make this historically accurate because that's less fun. But it's silvery. It's not matte. It's there's just little glints of reflection in it. And it's the one it's the one sign of luxury that father deigned to bestow on his elderly family. And like a real like kick in the ass gift as well, because it's something that is useless on her or useless on its own, and that she will have to, like, if she wants to use her hands so much, then let her make something. It is a luxurious yarn, but it is like both a great and terrible gift.
And what treasure did Lancelot bring back from one of his adventures?
Where would you like a treasure from?
Ooh, the oh the attic.
Oh, in the attic. Um, in the attic, one of the treasures that Lancelot brought back when when you went to fetch him um, was a sheaf of papers with drawings of the estate, um, drawn by whom I don't know, but um, but yeah, very large, but like large and beautiful drawings, but folded up as though they weren't the special thing that you can like immediately recognize them to be. Folded up and hidden away.
I feel like a treasure hunt succeeded that that adventure. And what did the Christmas dinner table feel like?
Can you be more specific about?
Oh, like So when I'm presuming Lancelot has a seat.
Oh,
And the grandmother is there, and father is
yes,
there, and all the
yes.
other.
Oh, father is so irritated that Dorian has requested an extra seat at the table for Lancelot. This is nonsense, boy. The toy will not eat, and I won't have it. And grandmother says, "Oh, we should give father a real name so that she can call him it."
Ooh.
This is probably my job since I created this character.
I think Edmund is always a good name from that kind of era.
I am not going to name anyone Edmund. I already played Edmund in a different game, and
Oh, that's right.
I'm not going to pollute that
Different.
mind space for myself. Sorry.
No problem. I was like, why has it been familiar? I was like, oh yeah, because we played a whole month of Edmund.
um, I'm going to pick a name that I'm going to pick the name Ivor.
Ooh, nice.
And so she says, Ivor, let the boy have his fun. It's Christmas. And like belittled by his mother in this way in his own home, he he gives in to this plainly ridiculous demand. But grandmother also insists that if Lancelot's going to sit at the table, then he shouldn't be here in that shabby armor. This is a place for gentlefolk.
I love it so much. Beautiful.
Let's see. So we do this again.
Sweet.
I'm gonna get rid of these cards. And if you want to draw yours, then I'll draw mine.
Yeah, from water, right?
Correct.
No. Sweet. Oh.
Oh, what has happened? Did I break everything?
No, I got one. I was like, oh, I know what I'm doing for that one.
Oh, awesome. If you've got it, then go for it.
Um. So I drew the 4 of Cups.
Oh, that's awesome.
You reassured your friend about an insecurity.
I love that. I love that prompt.
um, and I remember rushing back home, incredibly excited. Um, I almost like trip on the stair going up to my room, and I bust in the door, and there's Lancelot on my bed. Um, and I start rummaging through the chest of drawers there because I'm pretty sure that's where I left the map of the house. But it's been such a long time since I got my hands on that. I'm not quite exactly sure where it is. And I remember uh, hearing the clink of Lancelot's shiny armor behind me. As he wakes up from his nap, and uh, I my fingers clasp around like the aged paper, and I gingerly take it out and turn around, and Lancelot say, "Huh, I wonder when we get around to going on our quest to find buried treasure." But seeking suspicion, um, where it is. Well, shall we mount our steed and take a gander off on this like adventurous quest? And I stop, and uh, the bright excitement on my face dims a bit, and I bite on the inside of my cheek, um, and say, I mean, like, mm, maybe not right now. See, Nathaniel uh, is free this afternoon. I bumped into him at church, and he didn't have anything to do, and we're gonna go like explore the house a bit, like see if there are any like secret hidden rooms or that kind of thing. Where like people have like buried treasure in this house, and um, I and Lancelot's like, oh no, it's fine, it's fine. Um, Clearly, you don't need me on this quest. You've got another night. I roll my eyes. I'm like, no, Lancelot, this is different. I've known you for such a long time. You've been such a good friend. You told me how to ride a horse. Um, I just, I just need a little bit of space. Um, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to be gone forever. That doesn't mean that we can't ever look for other buried treasure around this place. Um, and I hear Lancelot like clink a bit tentatively, a bit reservedly, and I give him a big hug and squeeze him tight. And I tell him, I'm never gonna forget about you. You're gonna stay with me forever. And we're gonna have so many good adventures and quests together. It's just this time, this is just a quest for me and Nathaniel. And when we're done, I'll come back, and we'll play. We'll go horse riding and have another adventure.
How old are you at
I
the
think
time?
like probably uh, 11. Yeah.
Oh, this is so heartbreaking. It's the worst.
It's
I mean, I love it, but um,
the worst.
so when you leave, where do you leave Lancelot?
Ooh. I think I am perhaps a bit absent-minded and leave him on the rocking horse, even though I know that's prime territory for Father Divided.
Um, and I think in the knit or in the crocheted armor, like keeping Lancelot on the horse when it is when there is a person holding onto it is trivial. Keeping Lancelot on the wooden horse by himself is like such a like as long as the wind doesn't blow wrong, he might stay on there. Um, and this is like a lovely summer afternoon or something, right?
Hmm.
Uh-huh. So the windows are open and fresh air is coming into the house, and I think a gust probably knocks Lancelot to the off the horse and to the floor. Um,
Totally.
and that's where he is the next time that the or when you return that night, he's laying on the floor. Um, do you do you pick him up off the floor, or do you take or do you go to your bed with other dreams in mind?
Oh, good question. I think like um of course Dorian crosses the room and stoops down and like picks up Lancelot, like sort of holds him between his palms and feels like the burlap underneath his fingers and feels like the tight knit metallic crochet. Um Sees the bright beady eye that's like catching the moonlight and the big teal eye that's so very at odds with the other, and um, puts him safely on the shelf, looking over the room.
Oh, I didn't know that we were going to land in like Toy Story territory, and now I'm like totally sad about that. It's the best worst. I love it. Um, okay. I have a card that I'm going to reveal, unless you had anything else that you wanted to
That's
offer
good.
for that
Yeah,
scene.
I'm
Okay.
excited for yours.
So I'm going to reveal the 9, a time that my friend defended me against someone. Um, I think this is I think this is even like the maybe the next summer. Um, because the um the sketches of the estate that you've used or that you've that we had found and that you had like kind of used as a treasure map are something that you've like you've taken to try and not copy them, but like you want to find the same places that are the same like vantages from which the estate is illustrated on those, so that you can draw it the way that you remember, um, and and so you're um, so you're like you're up on a hill, uh, a little ways out from the house, and you've found this vantage, and the folded up sketch that you had brought out here to find, you kind of like carefully fold back up and put into into the back of like the sheaf of paper that you've brought with you, um, and you get out like a you get out a pen and a small bottle of ink, and start drawing the face of the house, um, but you draw it in uh, instead of drawing it as it is, you draw it in all stone, and where there are windows in the upper levels, you draw them you draw the roofs as towers up above the house, um, and like at scale in this drawing, like you have drawn um, you haven't drawn any other people, but you draw Lancelot as you see him. Um, kind of like returning on horseback to his home. And as you're moving from one part of the sketch, working on the house, to kind of like filling in some detail on Lancelot, really getting all of each of the links in the mail that he's wearing, just like perfectly circular and like interlinked with each other. Um, uh, that's when Nathaniel uh, comes calling, um, and he asks you what you're looking or what you're doing, and asks to, or when you say that that you're just drawing, he asks to take a look at it. And when he does, he's surprised because he's seen the original sketch. He knows that, um, you know, obviously he knows what the house looks like. Obviously, he has seen the original sketches because that was like the whole basis of your adventures last summer. And so the whimsy that is present in the drawing that you're working on now is a little surprising to him. Uh, like that was wasn't that just like kid stuff? Um, and he asks, and what's with the knight there anyway? Um, and uh, and you tell him that oh, what's the defense going to be? He says, "Who's that supposed to be? Your father?" Uh, because of course father is known for his rides about the estate, and Dorian says no, he's nothing like my father. He's I think, yeah, no, I think you say he's nothing like my father, and then like you roll it up, and uh um you roll it up and stop drawing it, uh and so you and Dorian like head to the you start heading for the house, and Dorian or I'm sorry, Nathaniel follows, but you when you get into the house, and you take your drawings to your room, and Nathaniel follows you, like Nathaniel sees me like perched up on a shelf, with like a couple of months of dust accumulated on me, and he like and there's that moment of like tween recognition uh of oh, he's done with that maybe, but has moved on to something else. But like he's like he doesn't push on it. He doesn't make fun of of this toy. Like he sees he saw how you drew Lancelot, and he heard what you said about Lancelot, and doesn't say anything else about it, as you leave the rolled up papers, and then leave the room together.
Oh, what other signs of forgotten childhood exist in that room?
Oh, that's so good. Um, the there are two scraped lines on the floor where the rocking horse no longer stands. And the the on the shelf near Lancelot, like the books that the books that Dorian's father used to read for him are all tipped and laid sideways, because Dorian's school books are like down in like in reach, or like they're handily in reach. They're not put up on the shelf. It is summer. What is he doing with school books? He's educating himself. I wish I could come up with a transgressive book offhand for the middle of the 1800s.
All good. Some
My
appropriate.
my literature knowledge is as good as my history. So
same.
Cool. So that's our first 4 water legend. But now we get to do that. We get to draw 1 card, look at it, and describe a past scene that we can build on the story using the card's prompt however you wish. So let's draw some cards and figure out who wants to go first. You can draw your card, and then I will, so that roll for your party doesn't do anything bad to me.
Oh, cool. What?
Is it behaving for you? It's not showing me anything. Oh, there it goes. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, it hates me. Why does it always hate me? Give me my card here. Roll for your party. Oh, there we go. Finally got one. Okay. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Do we want to talk about what cards we have so we can decide what order we want to do them in and totally cheat at Dead Friend?
Yeah, I got your friend brought you to a party. I was hoping I was gonna get.
That's always my favorite because I have no idea what to do with it in this specific context. Oh, that's good. I got you argued with your friend. So
interesting.
Do you have an idea for what kind of party I could possibly bring you to?
Oh, totally. I know exactly what party you bring me to.
Oh, let's go. Let's do it.
Okay. I'll reveal it for honesty's sake, I guess. And so I remember the air being very thick with like incense or perfume. It had a very cedar woody spicy scent to it. And there were it was candlelight, but it was floating in the air. These very sort of like strange, like bauble shapes just floating in the air. Um, and the sky itself was like this very impossible velvet purple. Um, and there were so many stars that stood out like tiny pinpricks against these very large baubles that lit up the grove around us. Um, and I remember seeing Whisper Lily playing with like this fire in the air and like guttering the candles and weaving and bobbing through it, sometimes catching on fire herself. Like these little dandelion tufts just poof, and then um, existing for a moment in the air before dying. And um, Sketch was there as well. The Sketch was kind of doing Sketch's thing and um, was weaving pictures, that kind of thing. But it was really strange because usually um, he just draws things on paper, but in this case, he was speaking, and whatever he was speaking about came out of his mouth. Um, like he was conjuring up this story that was painting itself in front of us um, from his actual lips. It was a bit weird and unsettling, but kind of captivating at the same time. And I don't remember what happened exactly next, but suddenly I was like sitting with Lancelot um, at this table that was like filled with food. I don't remember what it tasted like exactly, but I remember thinking it tasted a bit like sweet plums and roast beef and gravy, and it actually reminded me a lot of Christmas. Um, and I don't remember exactly what we talked about, but I remember laughing a lot and like to the point where my face hurt, and Lancelot was laughing, and uh, and then suddenly we were flying. Felt a lot like riding horseback with Lancelot. And I remember Whisper Lily being there too. Maybe we were riding with Whisper Lily, or she was at least like keeping us up in the air. And I remember hearing that rush of wind in my ears and like the clinking of Lancelot's armor and just laughing as we took off from this clearing. And I remember seeing the fire getting smaller and smaller and smaller as we went higher and higher and higher, and the stars getting bigger and bigger and bigger as we got closer to the sky. And then I remember it was when I woke up and the window was open and I felt like the breeze in my face and I could smell like smoke coming from outside, like if I like a fire pit or something. I guess someone was burning something off. Um, and I remember feeling really disappointed. I tried to get back to sleep and get back to that place, but I couldn't. I couldn't get there again.
I have no questions. Oh my god,
Sorry, it's a bit of a ramble.
that was awesome. Um, no, I can't improve it by asking any questions about it. I don't think. Um, um so I'm gonna reveal. I guess. Like I said, for the sake of honesty, because why not? Um, about a time I argued with my friend. So I think after that dream, after I took you to that party, um, one of the things that Whisper Lily and Sketch told me was that they were trying to prepare me for something, and what that was that soon this will be the only place that that Dorian probably sees you. Um, you know, we we'll still be with him, even when he doesn't think that he needs us anymore. Um, but you might not be. And this catches me off guard because, like, even though I know that you have other other people that you go on adventures with, it's um like my my armor has been mended for years and fended off fended off every strike, but now it's just as if my heart was exposed again when they tell me this, because like I you've always come back. You've always told me that that you would come back. And uh, and so the next time that you go to take me down off of the shelf, and it's some time. The dust has settled in between the chain links, and like when you pull me down, like you start by trying to kind of like blow it off, but you realize that it's not as simple as just kind of it's not just as simple as like shaking it out. And so like you give Lancelot a quick almost like you would beat out a rug just against your leg, just a quick thwap, like you hold him by the legs and give him a quick thwap to knock some of the dust out of his armor, because he looks less majestic uh, than you remember him. And when you sit down and talk to me, um, it used to be that when I was when we would talk, I would open my helmet, and you'd see my black and teal eyes, and I'd look down at you and have lessons to teach, um and adventures to go in search of. Um, but I think that this is the first time that I feel that we're in opposite positions. Um, your your arms and legs have grown so much recently that it's no issue for you to get Lancelot down off the shelf. You don't have to pull your chair out from your desk to climb up and get me. And so you kind of set me down on the desk. Uh, I'm not even sure why you brought me down, but you open a book at the desk, and we start talking, and we have uh we have an argument about how you can still hear Whisper Lily, even when you're not here, and even when you're not with all of us, and how sketches uh, uh, always you can always summon him right there to your hand, but for me, it's it's the shelf, and it's this room now, um, and it's uh The argument ends when you open a drawer and decide, like, you decide that you decide to just focus on the book that you're reading. You open the drawer and you open the desk drawer and kind of like you move some things around in it to just like make some room for Lancelot, but then you slide the drawer shut, and that's the end of the argument.
I have no questions. That was so fucking amazing. I have so many feelings.
I apologize if I'm making you feel feelings that you didn't want to.
No, please. It's what we're here for, right?
It is what we are here for. Oh, dead
Oh my
friend.
god.
This fucking game is so good. So we have one more of these that we do from the deck of water, and this. Well, see, I screwed myself. I got the wrong one. Oh no, I didn't get the wrong one, because my motivation. I'm going to remind myself. My motivation is I wish to return from the dead and wreak havoc. So let's see what this is going to give me. Oh, I'm so excited. Uh-oh. Did you get a card?
I did, but I pulled from. I went to go. I clicked pull from Earth, and I clicked cancel, but then it drew a card anyway.
Well, we're done with Earth anyway, so
yeah, it's all good. I feel less bad about that. Oh. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I got a really bad one. Really bad one.
It didn't give me anything yet. I'm so bad at roll for your party. There we go. Oh no, so did I.
Oh no. Do you want to see what you got?
I kind of want to. Let's see. I kind of want you to go first.
Oh no, are you sure?
I guess I'm not. Should we just say again what we both got?
No, I could go first. It's totally fine. It's just, oh my god. I'll play this. A time your friend manipulated you into doing something.
Yes. Oh.
Oh, it's so bad.
It's gonna be terrible, and I'm here for it.
Oh my god. Oh, I know exactly what it is.
Let's hear it.
So I think actually this was very recently after Father threw the picture I drew of church and Father in the fire. And I remember feeling like that rumbling anger in the pit of my stomach, like that thunderous electric, watching the flames like lick and eat at the paper as it turned into ash. And I remember storming upstairs and throwing my face in my pillow and just like screaming into it. I was so pissed. And it was so unfair that Father has complete control over what I'm allowed to do and what I'm allowed to draw. And it's not fair. Like, it's just not fair. And I remember Lancelot. I remember Lancelot telling me it's okay because Father doesn't have control over me. You know, I can get back at him just as good as he got me. And it's always been rather unfair how the horses in the stable have been trapped there, you know, that they deserve to be free. Like Father has done the same to them as he's done to me, both of like all of our lives. And I remember thinking like, yeah, like that's the only way father's going to learn a lesson about how he doesn't control everything around here is if we go and like free the horses. So I snuck out with Lancelot under my arm and like tiptoed and I had to duck under the window because the window like runs right past like the path there to get to like the stables. And I remember hearing father on the inside, like talking barely. I felt my heart pounding in my chest as like I snuck out there. But I managed to get out to the stables. Um, like unlatched the gate there and opened it. Um, and then uh, the horses just like ran for it, and one of them whinnied really loudly as it like galloped past the front of the house. And I remember father pelting outside to see what was wrong, and seeing me there, and the look on his face was one I had never seen before in my life. And I've never seen father that angry at me before. That was something else. And I remember when it was all over thinking that how could Lancelot have made me so astray and so wrong, and that yeah, father's always gonna control my life. And it's not fair. It's really not fair, but I mean there's nothing I can do about it. He's just the boss around here, and that's the way it's gonna be always.
Oh, that's so good. God damn it, Lord. Oh. Did father get his horses back?
I think he did, which um I was okay with in the end because I quite like both of those horses. I understand how they feel.
Oh, jeez. So I need to skip ahead the rules here real quick and figure out if I'm gonna. Oh, no, I just need to foreshadow. Okay. I think I know. I need to write a note for myself. Okay. Oh, I'm starting to wish that I had gone first because that's really fucking good. So I have a 7, which is the time that I lied to my friend. I'm not sure if I want to. I'm not sure if I want to build on where things are going from there, or if I want to like move back to an earlier time. Because I feel like we are at a place after that scene, right?
Oh, totes.
Uh, yeah. I'll take make liberal use of the silence. Except now I've broken it. Fuck, I fucked up. Okay, let's roll this back. Let's roll this back to what was the scene? This was before the not the insecurity, not the party, not the friend help me with the problem. Oh God, which one was it? Time your friend defended you against someone. So thinking of the time that you and that you had been drawing, and Nathaniel saw what you were drawing. So sometime between between the time that you had an insecure, or that I had an insecurity that you weren't going to spend time with me, and that you were and that you defended me. The I mean, obviously, the writing had been on the wall for a while for Lancelot, even at Dorian's like early age of 11. When Nathaniel was giving like a recital on the pianoforte, you didn't quite have reason. You didn't quite have reason at that point to think, no, it would be weird for me to take Lancelot with me to this thing, to this event. And while you watched Nathaniel I think what I wanted to do was to get you to embarrass yourself in front of him. And the lie that I told you was that most of these instruments play themselves. You can if you sit down and work the pedals correctly, the keys can play away any tune you can imagine. And this was not embarrassing to you until one day later. You had your first lesson on the pianoforte, and you put a foot down on one of the pedals, and you just exercised it down to the floor and back up, down to the floor and back up, and felt the keys under your fingers not move, and no sound come out. The only person who was witness to this was your instructor, who was very used to children not proceeding with playing the first time that they sat down at it. That's not surprising, but for a moment, like you think back to that recital, and why Lancelot would have told you that, other than to try and embarrass you.
Okay, I have no questions. That was too good. Oh my god.
Oh, I do want to return from the dead and wreak havoc.
Oh my gosh. I'm terrified, but I can't wait to see it.
I'm very excited for the ritual of air because Lancelot can use some motherfucking weapons in a way that none of the other dead who I've used have been prepared for. Oh, let's see. Um, These memories provoke a jolt of emotion so strong that you momentarily forget that you're dead. Describe the emotion. The way that I feel the emotion is like I feel it spread across my torso. Like I'm being safely held. Um, and I feel a certainty and a steadiness now to I feel a certainty and a steadiness around my body, as though I'm being propelled forth, carried by something. And it's for just a moment, I feel I can hear a whisper in my ear. A whisper in my ear and the tickle of a dandelion petal across my cheek.
Oh my god. Again, I have no questions, so it's perfect.
You have a job now to do too.
Yeah, because I think like as I stoop down toward the chest of toys, that's just like cracked ajar by um, toys long forgotten. The door to my bedroom that I had left open catches the wind and slams shut. And as it does, it sends the windows like flying open. And the building storm blusters through the window and scatters like all of my drawings on my desk there onto the floor. And there's just like this um, mess of papers that catch the breeze, and, like loop around and go everywhere. Um, the rain hits my face, and the sound of that looming thunder is ever more present and clear now that there's nothing protecting me from the elements outside. It smells like, oh, like electric, like petrichor, that wet, heavy smell that comes with like a very grisly storm. And the wet on my face just enhances like the chill on my cheeks as like the breeze hits my face.
Oh, that's awesome. Um, shall we talk about the magical link?
Yeah.
Okay. Place your right index finger on the star coin. Why is it so important to you?
This is clearly important to me because um,
I have a suggestion that I would
oh,
love to offer.
please go for gold.
Um, so it's the broken button eye from Lancelot, right?
Mm,
Well, how about instead of offering it, I'll give it as a question, and you can answer it however you like.
cool.
What was it most recently sewn to?
Oh, outside of Lancelot.
Yeah.
Ooh, that is a really good question. I don't think this is known to Dorian, but because when Lancelot's eye fell off and Dorian was very, very distraught, his grandmother held him and like hugged him and wiped away his tears and said, like, "Don't worry, I've got an even better eye for Lancelot. This is a magic eye. It sees everything. It can protect you from the worst thunderstorms. So you don't need to worry. Lancelot hasn't lost anything. He's just gained something new." And I think in actuality, um, this button has been floating around in his grandmother's like sewing kit for some time. She's always got a bunch of them on hand for when she's fixing up dresses or loses other buttons for other things. And in reality, she doesn't even remember where it's come from. It's a story's been in her sewing kit. But that Dorian doesn't have to know that. Satisfactory.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Because there's a secret about this object that you don't know. Actually, I do have a question
Oh yeah.
before I tell you what the secret is. How did you find it again?
I'll find the button.
Yeah.
Ooh. Ah. I think ooh, yeah, I like that a lot. I think what happened was grandma opened up her little like sewing tin and it had like a mix of buttons and then there were like little tiny magenta pearl ones and white ones and black ones and ones with like plaid fabric stretched over them. And she asked me to pick one and I put my hand in and felt around and felt like the really large, sort of pleasantly smooth, shiny edges of like this button and pulled it out. And I knew as soon as I closed my fingers around it that was Lancelot's eye.
And you found it just recently again?
Oh, recently. I see. Yeah, I think that's a really good question. Yeah, I think like recently when I found it, um oh yeah, like I like the idea of like this that if this is a movie, is that shot like digging around in the sewing kit for that button. And then cut to present day where much like when Dora was digging around for the map, it's like, "No, I'm sure when Lancelot's eye fell off again, I put it somewhere around here." We see him like digging around in like one of the drawers in his desk. And his fingers like land on like that smooth tiny button. And just like pulls it out. Like this time it's sort of nighttime. Um and the inside is busted and it's a bit scratched. Um and worn more so than when his grandmother first gave it to him.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you already know what the secret is?
I don't know.
I've been able to see through it this whole time.
Oh my gosh.
Oh. Yep, that is the
Oh,
secret.
that is so creepy.
Look, I gave you Cyclops early on. I'm sticking with it.
I love it so much. Ooh. What does it felt like just to look at the inside of a desk drawer for the longest time? And what does it feel like to feel the moonlight on your eye again?
The way that it feels to see the inside of a desk drawer is unfortunately a feeling that I've had before. Um, to be put away and to be unused and unwanted, or maybe held for held until a time that I could be useful to someone or something. Um, and it's such a reminder that it's such a reminder of the time that 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 you put me away whole. Um, then I could see it with both eyes. Now, even through even after I lost the eye, it was just uh, it's just like existential dread continuously because I knew it and now it's in front of me all the time. Sorry, there was a second question. What does it feel like to have the moonlight fall on it again?
Yeah.
Um, so when it was in the sewing tin, um, it was only ever it was only ever like if the tin was closed, it might as well have been that my eye was closed. But when it was open and I could and I could see where um, it was that reminder, like I said. But now having the moonlight shine on it, I can I can see that I can see that velvet sky again, with those pinpricks of light shining through it, um, taking me back to taking me back to uh, the place that Lancelot comes from.
That's so creepy. Oh my god. You're so good at games, Barry.
Oh, you're pretty good at games, Lauren.
Ah, gosh.
Um, I think you know what I think we should do. I think we should
Mhm.
take like a 10-minute break before we do the ritual of fire.
Sounds good.
Okay, it is 23 past the hour, so I will keep an eye out for 33, and I promise not to even like be sneaky and like try and jump back on the video, be like, "Oh God, Lauren, you're good at games." So that when you watch this again, then you can see me gush. So
Aw.
I'll just do it now and
Aw.
pretend that I said it in secret later. Okay, cool. See you in
Fine.
10 minutes.
See you in 2 minutes.
So I am not prepared for this, but I think I'm ready for it.
Yay.
If that distinction makes any sense at all.
Totally does.
You know what would have been really smart for us to do? It would have been to draw our cards for the Ritual of Fire before we took a break.
Ah, it's okay.
Yep.
We're good story game bullshitters. We fine.
100%. Get these out of the way. Okay, cool. Quick rhetorical question: do you have any idea what it's like to have like a whole bunch of duet partners who are all really good story gamers? I have a guess that you probably do.
Like a bit. It's always very delightful and then always like very intimidating because like everyone's amazing and you just like I hope I can bring it each time. But
it's I'm glad that we're both up to the challenge tonight. I think this is going really well.
I think so too.
Also, we've been playing for like 3 hours and we're like only 2/3 of the way through the game. I was like, oh no, this game, like we won't play for 4 hours. So yeah, we'll play for 4 hours. That's definitely happening. We might set a record tonight. So
I'm delighted. I'm here for all of it.
Awesome. Same. So yeah, are you ready for fire?
I think so.
All
okay,
right.
so first I will invoke a pentagram of fire. I get it like round the right way, otherwise we're all dead. Okay. And I'll move the star coin to the fire point.
A word from beyond.
Mm-hmm.
Adventure.
Ooh, nice. I want to slide the circle coin around counterclockwise south, the cardinal direction of fire. Okay.
Okay. Hey, we talked before the game about screwing around with the C and D instructions on here.
Oh yeah, we did.
What do you think about that now? I think I'm okay, given that Lancelot has a physical manifestation as the burlap sack knight. I think I'm okay with proceeding as I think I'm proceeding. I think I'm good with proceeding as like rules as written.
I think so too. I think that feels right to rest that agency with you in that capacity. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna draw my 2 cards. I'm gonna disable hidden draws because I don't need to hide this from you.
Aw, you're a true friend.
I'm a dead friend. You can't trust me. Am I gonna get my cards the first time? I love you. Roll for your party. Just gonna hit oh, maybe I got one. I got maybe one. Let's see. God, I'm bad at the internet for someone whose job is like basically that. There we go. Okay, so I've got the king.
Yes, your Excel skills are rivaled by none.
My what now?
Your Excel skills.
Oh, oh no! I hope right. Oh, you use that breaking the ice keeper.
Yeah, we did.
I need to do some work on that.
That's very good.
Thank you. But first, I have in the Fire Legend a sickness.
Oh.
And an order.
Oh my god! I'm gonna shut up now and just let you.
No, I think I already know what we have because I need to answer the following questions using details that correspond to these cards. I need to describe. I need to answer: how did I die in old age or in youth, by natural or unnatural causes, violently or at peace? And I need to describe my final living moments. I know the answers to some of these. I'm just trying to figure out how I can say them in a way that words come out like sequentially and non-repetitiously, which is like a thing that I struggle with.
I feel that super hard. Please take your time.
Thank you. So when grandmother took ill, I think that's when Dorian realized that um, that if anything happened to Lancelot from here on out, then that he would have to be the one to take responsibility for him, for his for his armor and his care. And when this is so much worse. I'm very sorry. And when she passed, it was a little while before Father really said anything about it. But a few weeks after grandmother had passed and Lancelot was still in the house, still gathering dust up on the shelf. That's when Father ordered Dorian to get rid of that thing. When you said it's not bothering anyone, it's just up on the shelf, and when you told him, maybe I'll want to give it to someone someday, this neither of these moved Father. And the look that you saw on his face when he took Lancelot from the shelf was a look that you had only seen one other time, when you had let the horses out of the barn. He took Lancelot at that time, and took him out to the stables. I think okay. Father came in in the morning to come and rouse you, to send you off to your studies, and that's when Father saw Lancelot up on the shelf. Pulled it down, said these things, and then left the room carrying Lancelot. I think that you chased him and pleaded with him, but Father was insistent that the proper place for a knight was on his horse. But the way that he mounted Lancelot onto his favorite horse was not a way that you would have foreseen, given all of your riding experience with him. Father took a short length of twine and, kneeling down to the horse's hoof, tied Lancelot beneath it before climbing up on the horse for his morning examination of the estate. When he returned from the ride, Lancelot was was still dangling from the horse's shoe, and you could see mud and grass tramped into the metallic yarn chainmail, and even stamped deeply into the burlap of Lancelot. Father then took Lancelot off the horse's foot and handed it to you and said, "Keep it if you like, but he's seen better days." The last thing that that Lancelot witnessed as he did this was a look of shock and disbelief on Dorian's face as his father did this thing, and Dorian finding himself incapable of standing up to his father or stopping him from doing this before riding off into the morning.
I have no questions, only feelings.
I'm very sorry. There's no good cards to draw for this section of the game.
No, I love it. I I feel awful, but so great at the same time. Good feeling.
You
Oh my
also get
gosh.
to ask questions there. You get to answer some prompts though.
Oh my god. I'm preparing myself. I'm drawing from fire, right?
Correct.
Ooh. Okay. Let's reveal them. I got a celebrity or popular person.
You got the friggin' knight. Oh,
In the collision.
a celebrity or popular person is like a super hard one.
It's okay. I think I think I have a thing in mind.
Awesome.
So I think I'm just gonna pick up right off of from like where you finished. Um, I definitely witnessed my friend's death. That was the whole point father was trying to prove, was that I'd outgrown these silly childish things and that it was time to move on to a new chapter in my life. As much as I didn't want to. And I remember watching father take off with Lancelot and just feeling a green sickness in my stomach and a lot of loss and emptiness. Like I just couldn't hear Lancelot's voice anymore. Maybe I could, but it was just very distant. And wondering if this was going to be the last time I ever saw Lancelot again. And for a moment, I felt my knees go quite weak with relief when father returned and I saw Lancelot was okay, like muddy and grassy, but wasn't anything. Oh, and grandmother fixed him up before, but I'd seen him recover from worse. And yet I remember father looking down at me from his horse, and I felt so small. Um, Lancelot was still tied to that twine sitting in the dirt, and I remember getting into an argument with him about I don't remember exactly what was said, but it got really heated. And I remember hearing our voices like echoing around the clearing on this like crisp morning. So much so that I didn't hear the sound of hoofs approaching us. And I remember father saying like not like not now son. Um and some he looked really fancy and posh. Like he had like these great gold buttons on him, like navy, very military esque, arriving on another horse. And father's father went to get off his horse, and as he did, I remember um, the horse taking a step backwards, and the hoof coming down very hard on Lancelot's head. And I remember looking at the mud that squished underneath that burlap, and I remember seeing like the black cracked button there from his other eye, and just like, oh no, I remember seeing the crack in that teal button as it fell off. And thinking I wasn't ever gonna be able to talk to Lancelot again. I couldn't hear him anymore, and I couldn't feel him anymore. And I remember feeling really vulnerable and alone, and 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 empty.
I don't want to ask any questions. I'm going to pass on that.
Oh, I got a bit teary there.
Oh. Should I proceed with the next step?
Yeah, please go for gold.
In response to these memories, you're starting to catch a glimpse back into the world of the living. Describe what you see, hear, and smell. Well, what I see is I'm not sure where it's coming from, because as the horizon opens up, uh, it's neither the darkness of this place, nor is it the velvety sky. It's oh, I don't remember if you established what the lighting situation in the room was. I would assume that your room is lit with just candle, right? Where you're performing the ritual. Um, yeah. So as the horizon opens up, it's not a sunrise and it's not a sunset. Uh, it's something much smaller. But the blackness of the sky opens up to a familiar view above the ceiling of the room that I had such a good vantage of up on the shelf. What I hear as this place opens up to me is um, the the pattering of rain on the window, and it sounds like a um, like an army of horses galloping through a field um, as it taps away on the window. And what I smell I smell the um I smell the just the small flumes of black smoke coming off the candles. Um, but what that smells like is um, what that smells like to me is just before bedtime in this place. Uh, just the moment that the candle is snuffed and that small plume of smoke goes up. And yeah, that is my glimpse back into the world of the living.
I have no questions. That was too good.
You have a job again.
Like I'm still processing how amazing that was.
I will honor the silence as part of the ritual.
As I reach into the toy chest and gingerly take out Lancelot, blind in one eye, I smell must and burlap and like aged, cracked mud. I still smell the wet, earthy like life in the air of present day wind and rain. It's so different to like the memories that are caked into Lancelot. And I hear another roll of thunder, one of the ones that is loud enough to drown out Whisper Lily, meaning I truly am alone. As the wind whips around my face and the rain hits my cheeks. And as I press the broken tail button against Lancelot's face where it ought to have been all these years.
Are you ready to summon the dead?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh. Oh my god. There's so many questions to answer. So I don't know exactly how much time has passed since Lancelot died, but it's long enough now that the memories feel really distant, even though it kind of been more than like a couple of years or two at the most. Um, and I feel a level of guilt and regret because Whisper Lily and Sketch never left me. They've always been with me. Sketch is a mentor, and Whisper Lily is a reminder not to forget. But I haven't heard Lancelot since Father told me to give up being a kid, and that really hurts. I never wanted Father to have any level of control over my life, and what did I do when my best friend was I needed me most? I just watched this. My father did away with him, and I listened. And I mean, in my life now, it's everything's kind of normal. Like I tend to my classes and see Nathaniel when Nathaniel's free and not practicing the pianoforte. And I'm actually getting okay at the pianoforte now. Like, I'm not as good as Nathaniel, but um, I'm okay. And still spend a lot of time drawing and riding horses. I love riding horses. I love feeling the wind on my face and like the sting of speed in my eyes and the way I can't hear anything when I go really fast. Again, it reminds me of being a kid, but not in the same way Lancelot ever talked to me. And I guess that's why I'm here. Um, I kind of want to go back to those times when I had a friend who I could, laugh with underneath the velvet sky and dream with, and fly around in the sky with, and just like be a kid again. You know, much like I can draw whatever I want. It's not quite the same as when Lancelot was around going on adventures and finding treasure maps in the attic and that kind of thing. And I don't really have any power to bring back Lancelot, but I'll never forget what my grandmother said about Lancelot. Whenever Lancelot got a tear or his eye fell out, which was he's not gone. He's not destroyed. He's just broken, and broken things can be fixed. And I feel like maybe if as I back together and put a bit of stuffing in it again, like maybe I'll have a taste of it again.
Amazing. I think it is still your turn.
You're so right. I was like, I can take a break now. No. So I will
This
try
one,
this. Hmm?
this one does tell you what to say. Unlike everything else, tells you exactly what to say.
So I will turn the star coin back over, heads up. My mind, I flipped it over. Um, on the fire point of the pentagram. Place your index finger on the star coin and repeat this magical formula 3 times. Beloved Lancelot Littlebury, thou who perished by being stomped by a horse, through this I button, I conjure thee. Beloved Lancelot Littlebury, thou who perished by being stomped by a horse, through this I button, I conjure thee. Beloved Lancelot Littlebury, thou who perished by being stomped by a horse, through this I button, I conjure thee.
when you summon me, I stand not as not taller than you as you remember from your earliest days, and not as the height of a doll as you've looked down on me for so long. Um, but uh, we stand as equals. You can see um, the bruising and battering that I've taken uh, all over my body. Uh, the earth is pounded into my mail all around. Um, my um, my eye. I try to keep one side turned away from you so that you don't have to see. And but when I open my mouth uh, to speak your name, and I call it out, start with a I start with the kind of laugh uh, that we would have on horseback, and uh, and then finally go to um, go to reach out toward you, uh, as though it's not clear whether I'm going to pick you up or if you're going to pick me up.
Oh my god. Lancelot, I never really forgave myself for what happened, which sounds really ridiculous. I mean, I don't even know why I'm here. I mean, it's not to seek forgiveness for the guilt that I feel. I do feel really bad, as much as I hate to admit it. Um, I don't know if I could have gone back in time and fixed it. I mean, it just happened so quickly, and I felt like no matter what I said to my father, he was there to teach me a lesson. And I guess why I feel bad because I listened to him. I feel bad that I took it to heart and that he was right. I think that's what it is. I think I've just never gotten over the fact that I let him be right and I let him control my life again. And you've always been such a support, and you've always helped me have a voice, and you've always told me to stand up to him, and you've made me strong, and you've made me feel like a person and not just like a product of my father. So I guess why I'm really here is to try and find some of it again. To See if there is still the embers of hope and strength that I felt whenever we were together. It's just really selfish.
Dorian, are the horses in the stables? You always said that you would come back, and you finally have. I need to get a horse beneath me, and I need to get the wind on my face, and I know you feel the same way. Uh, now, tonight we must ride.
I love it.
Are you ready to draw weapons for our final battle?
I definitely am.
We definitely want hidden draws for this.
Yeah.
Oh, but you have a job to do first.
Oh, do I?
You do.
Oh, yes. Okay. I will invoke the pentagram of air. And move the stack into the air.
A word from beyond. Joust.
Oh, nice. I'll take the circle coin. Move the background. Okay.
Okay, 4 cards each from air. Why don't you go ahead and draw, and then I'll roll for your party to get mine.
Sounds good. Okay. I got him.
Okay, wow. I'm going to take about 6 minutes to get these, I think.
Okay, gives me time to plot my. Ooh.
I got one. It's weird. Okay. Okay. Now, in our battle, we are going to use only 3 of the 4 that we drew. So I have to decide what I'm not going to use. We need to decide who's going to go first in the battle. So, do you want to
Oh,
just do a D6 or something, and like evens you'll go first, odds I'll go first.
yeah, sounds good. I'll do a d6. I got a 3, so odds was.
So I go first. Yep. Okay. Cool. Ooh, place the star coin in the center of the pentagram so that it touches both names. I mean, our names are not in the center of the pentagram, but that's okay. And I think that means a word from beyond again.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, it's not a word. I'm going to give you the word of it, but I can't also do the thing that it is because the word is whistle.
Ooh.
Because the first card that I'm going to reveal is the the hell is it? I'm going to reveal the knight for an animal. And I am whistling for the horses from the stable. You can hear through the window the stable doors being. It's unclear whether they're kicked open by the horses in the stable, rearing up on or turning around so they can kick it open with both of their hind legs, or if possibly. Yeah, there's a stroke of lightning at the same moment. So it's unclear whether it's the horses that have kicked their way out of the stables, or if lightning has struck it, blowing the door off the hinges. But uh, uh, but down below the window, you can hear two horses neighing for us.
Oh. And I'm gonna draw the 10 of Swords, which is
A favorite.
community allies or solidarity. Dorian starts and almost drops Lancelot when there's that roll of thunder that still like scares him to this day, even though he's a big kid now. And it reminds him of, oh no, he hears the horses neighing and the fluster of activity and freedom outside, and takes a cowering step backwards and rests like one hand protectively on his good drawing hand and says, no, I couldn't. I mean, I can't, because what if I get hurt again? What if I fall off the horse and hurt my wrist like I did before? And I can't talk to Sketch anymore. What if what if I lose that on top of losing you? And what if both of you leave me? I can't be left alone again. I can't.
How could I leave? I'm gonna reveal the 4, a rune covered box, maybe. How could I leave my uh, how could I leave my favorite person to hunt treasure with? And I pull out this rune covered box and I open it, and within are uh, maps and maps of adventures waiting for us, things in the world for us to go find uh, and experience and enjoy together.
And I'm gonna reveal. Oh, this is gonna hurt. Gonna reveal the King of Swords. I think in that moment when Dorian is faced with that reality, faced with a memory or a moment so close to that memory of the time his father really gave him a good telling off. He, with a trembling hand, takes the offered maps and looks at them for a second. And he really wants to hope that it's real and that they can go on adventures together. But then there's that voice in the back of his head that tells him, like, you know, deep down your father's right. You know, deep down this isn't real. And you know, this is a childish, silly thing you're doing. And he puts the map back in the box and places a hand on the lid, closing it just a crack until there's just a little bit left. And says, I would bet. And if this is real, any treasure we find will be fake and invisible. And as much as I want to, I've gotten in trouble so many times for living in a fake world, and I don't want to get hurt again. Is that what you want? You want to see me hurt again?
Oh, you're making me change my card. Oh, that's okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reveal the Page of Swords. And what Lancelot does is um the way that he's turned to you, you can't see his bad eye, and and you see something that is strapped across his shoulder, um, that's changed his silhouette somewhat in the candlelight. But what he does is He lifts a strap up over his shoulder, and then using both hands, takes over his head and presents to you a shield for you to defend yourself in the world, not just from those the slings and arrows that had been shot by his father for his entire life, but from even more from even more dangerous things. Uh, it will it will serve as it will serve to cover him in the wind. It will he can use it as a wall and a barrier. He can keep out all of those other things, and he can keep other people at bay here with his here with his knight. Dorian can become Dorian can become more than a squire to Lancelot, and the shield is his way into that. Got one more card, make it count.
I know. Feeling so conflicted. I guess I will drop 3. And Dorian, with reverent hands, takes the shield and holds it there. Can feel the warmth that comes off it, and it's such a stark contrast to the chill that's taken over this room. And for several lingering seconds, he feels that childhood security and protection again, like a blanket when the sponsor's in the closet. Everything out there is scary, but here he's safe. And he says, Lancelot, this is the most scented and strong I felt since we were together. And I never, ever, ever thought I'd have this feeling again. This is truly a gift. It's reminded me that while there has been a lot of distance between us, we never really left. I don't think I can risk losing that again. Can you?
I think you need to move the star coin to the spirit point of the pentagram.
There we go.
And then I need to offer a word from beyond. Inheritance.
Nice. That's so good.
We need to come to a consensus about who won the battle and how.
Okay, well, I know who won.
Okay, well, I need you to tell me.
I have to have Lancelot win. I have to have that shot of like Lancelot and Dorian crying out into the storm as like lightning cracks and they take off like into the rain and the wind.
So at the moment of my victory, then, um, you're holding this shield, and what I do with my even with my battered body, I'm still in my armor, and I go to the window, and um, and as I go to um, as I go to push it open, um, it uh, it sticks in the humidity of the rain. Um, I put my shoulder into it and push it open, but some shards of glass scatter down to the ground below. And I pick up the candles from the floor, um, and I take one with me to light my way. Uh, I and lead you over to the window, uh, and uh, uh, and I say, um, this this life is your new inheritance, Dorian. Do away with the old. And I hand you a candle, looking over at the at the room full of like the musty toy chest and your bed, and jump down. I jump out. I jump down to the horse below, um, landing on it gracefully, and with holding the one candle in the air, um, for you to see where you're going to jump down to. Um, and then if this works for you, it I would really like for you to take the remainder of the candles and throw them into flammable things in the house as you reject your inheritance and
Yeah,
follow Lancelot out
totally.
into the night.
Yeah. The wind in my face feels like we're flying like in my dream. And like the fire that sparks my room is very reminiscent of like the fire in the air and the bubbles.
And Whisper Lily is there with you as we ride up the hill, and see the and see the somehow the stone castle behind us catch flame, um, and Sketch, seated on the back of your horse, breathes out a word uh, that perfectly captures what this blaze looks like, and it's etched in your memory for when we're dry, and you can draw it. The defeated gets to conclude the story with an epilogue.
Oh, yeah. Well, I kind of feel like I like just closing down on that shot of, or you can hear like the pounding of hoofs like in the ground as we canter away, and the wind is like fresh in our faces and loud in our ears, and the rain is like hard in our face, particularly as we're going so fast. Um, and we look behind, and all we can see is like the faint glow of like orange against like the black of stone in the night. Um, and like we cry out in freedom and relief and excitement as we leave everything that caged us and controlled us and suffocated us behind.
This was an amazing game of Dead Friend.
Yes.
Oh shit, Lauren! Great, amazing idea, Dead Imaginary Friend. This worked so well.
Oh, it's
I'm
so
very,
good.
very happy with it.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to say before I stop the broadcast?
You're fabulous. Thank you
Uh,
for all your amazing storytelling and
hardest same. Hardest same.
This is like I'm gonna gush so much about how well you play games, but like the thing that sticks out the most in my mind is how well you pick up like all the hooks that are put down. You're a very generous player, and like
Aw.
like the metaphor and like the visual imagery and like looping it all back and reincorporating it, just building a very cohesive, like tight edited story. Like there's always a purpose and thought behind what you do and say, and it was delightful to indulge in that for 4 hours in the studio.
This game makes it really, really easy to do that. It's I feel very, very well. So like I could not do that without like a partner who is like amazing at like also spinning out those threads and like giving me so much to work with, and the game just makes it so easy to hook back into those things just over and over throughout. And yeah, no, this is why I've played Dead Friend 5 times and already want to play it more. So like I'm thinking about putting a couple of sessions up for like late February on the calendar just to see like I wonder what happens if I play this with someone that I haven't played with. Because I find this game to be such a good first duet because of how strong it is at like being able to tell a story with like themes and stuff. There are probably better words for that, but I don't have them. So, okay, I'm going to stop the broadcast now.
Bye, Tidit.